I'm Hanbyul Joo, a professor at Seoul National University in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I do AI research, and I also teach AI to my students. And today, I'm going to share you very interesting stories of AI to all of you guys. I guess you heard about the term AI or artificial intelligence a lot nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered the meaning of AI or the history or maybe the future of AI?
I'm more concerned about the future of AI.
That's an excellent answer.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we will explore today. So before moving on, here's a little quiz. So I'm going to show you two photos. And what you need to do is guess which one is generated by AI. Okay, here we go. So which one is generated by AI? The first one, the second one? Any idea?
I think the first one.
First one, yeah. The
Face, yeah, it seems a little too fake.
like
Too perfect.
Too perfect, yeah.
very
That's it.
smooth, yeah.
We'll agree. Any other idea? No?
I think the second one
Second
is,
one?
Yeah.
Any reason for that?
It looks unnatural.
All right. In fact, both of them are generated by AIs.
Oh my God, okay.
Difference between AI and Photoshop, actually.
So what's interesting here is, in fact, these are generated from different AI models. The first one is generated by the model like 2 years ago. And the second one is generated by more recent version. And if you actually see the details like faces or hands, you can actually feel the advancement of this AI technology over the last 2 years. And it's actually getting better and better. And I do believe in the end, we can easily generate really photorealistic AI-generated images. In fact, the input is just this kind of text prompt. So you can just write down some expected kind of scene by using this kind of text. Then the AI model can generate this kind of images based on this text prompt. What's interesting here is, in fact, this text prompt is also generated by ChatGPT. So we just provide very simple short description like a woman wearing hanbok sitting under the cherry blossom. And then the ChatGPT tried to make more detailed kind of expression. And then we just use this text prompt as the input for image generation. More interesting thing here is the AI can even generate videos from a still input image. For example, something like this.
Oh.
Scary.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I believe you also saw some similar AI-generated images in social media and maybe on the internet. And I also do believe you are using even the ChatGPT for your daily lives, right?
Yes.
Like this, AI is already around us. But have you ever considered like what is the meaning of AI?
I think it's just a type of technology. It's doing like what only human could do before. So I feel like it's a living thing these days.
That's a great answer.
But at the end of the day, it's still just a system, right?
I think all these are really great answers. The term AI is actually not a new thing, right? I believe you saw this term from many sci-fi movies or books. In fact, here is very interesting images. These are very old commercials. And you can actually see the term AI from these images, right? Of course, the AIs they are talking would be very different from the AI we are talking nowadays. But you can actually see that AI term has been here for a really, really long time. So in a broad sense, AI means some systems or computer programs that help or that replace humans' intellectual labor. So in that sense, all these computer programs, such as calculator, spreadsheet, or Photoshop, we can consider them as a kind of AI, right? But somehow we feel a big difference between the traditional computer programs and recent AI tools. What is that? Any reason?
Because the new AI has a lot of purpose. Well, before, like for a calculation machine, it was only to do mathematics, basic maths. But now, like ChatGPT, for example, it will reply to a wide amount of subjects.
Right, exactly. So we feel that somehow AI is much smarter, like humans, right? So as I mentioned, the term AI has been around for a really, really long time because of the reason there have been many, many researches in AI field. But just recently, we figured out how to make AI program more intelligent. And that is basically based on the data-driven approach or the learning-based approach. In the traditional computer programs, usually the every logic is hard-coded. So that is called this rule-based approach. So in this rule-based approach, the programmer needs to know the solution to solve the problem. And they just write down all these logics by this kind of code. But as you can see, many real-world problem is very, very challenging where we have no clear idea about the solutions. So distinguishing this cat and dog from images, this is one of such challenging problems. In the new ways of doing this kind of programming called learning-based approach or data-driven approach, which is the basic kind of approach in recent AI technology, in this example, we only need to specify a function with lots of parameters. The function is really kind of the function you saw from your math class. And then we just also provide lots of data with their desired label. For example, that image, the desired output should be dog, an image, the desired output is cat, and so on. So given lots of this training data, what we are doing is just optimizing this function so that it can make the right decision on this training data. After we finalize this optimization, we just call that as a final program. And this optimization process is often called training or learning process. What's interesting here is because this program is basically built by some optimization process, we actually have no clear idea about the detailed procedure. However, we found that this kind of method is working much better than traditional rule-based approaches. And there are very interesting three important components which enables this kind of learning-based approach. So availability of the internet, the big data, and the use of this neural network, and also the GPUs for providing some efficient parallel processing. So all these three are very, very important. But in your thought, which one would be the biggest role in making this kind of AI revolution? Any guess?
Big data, maybe?
Big data, okay.
I
I'll
think so.
take the three of them.
Okay. In fact, all three are important, but the big data has been there for a really, really long time, right? The internet. GPU was also there for gaming purpose. What about the neural network? It sounds a little bit new, right? However, the neural network itself is also quite outdated one. So this neural network called LuNet was invented by Jan LeCun, who is the winner of Turing Award. And this network was invented like 1988. What's interesting here is the neural network field was quite popular around the time and quickly outdated because it didn't work well. So almost no one was using this neural network technology for a really, really long time. However, recently, researchers somehow started reuse this neural network by using large-scale data from the internet. And those kind of computing can be done by the availability of GPU for parallel processing. So indeed, all these three combinations made the really breakthrough in this AI field. Coming back to the question, nowadays, the researchers are talking about the importance of big data more and more because nowadays, the model we are using more or less similar each other. So after this big AI revolution, basically AI is applied to any kind of technology used so far. That is including these large language models like ChatGPT or robotics, human behavior understanding, autonomous driving, medical application, and AR/VR applications. So from now on, let me very briefly introduce our lab and my research with my collaborator, my student, for you, so that you can see some interesting other future direction of AI.
Okay.
Seoul National University's Department of Computer Science and Engineering is actively conducting cutting-edge research in fields such as artificial intelligence, data science, and computer vision. Among its various labs, the Visual Computing Lab focuses on enabling AI to understand and learn from human visual information and behavior. At first glance, this space may look like an ordinary home, but it's actually a special lab. Called Parahome, this space replicates a real home environment. It's used to collect data on everyday human movement, interactions, and behavior within the surroundings, helping AI learn how to perceive and respond to spaces like a human would.
The goal of my research is to collect human-object interaction dataset in indoor environments. In our system, we have like 40 number of cameras in it, and those cameras are used to track what our poses are in this environment. And also those cameras are used to track objects in the scene. For example, the pot there and the refrigerator in our environment.
And the person leading this fascinating research is Professor Hanbyul Joo from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Seoul National University. Professor Joo emphasizes that for artificial intelligence to think and respond like a human, the key lies in collecting rich and precise data from the real world.
I think maybe the three most important component in recent AI system is data, data, data. Nowadays, obviously, research lab in industry tend to have more computing power than academia. And when we think about the neural network models, often people are using pretty similar models each other. So I think as a research lab in academia, the real strengths can be originated from the ability of producing and making or collecting a new type of data, such as 3D data and human motion data.
Professor Hanbyul Joo majored in computer science at Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology and later earned his PhD in robotics from Carnegie Mellon University in the United States. He went on to further deepen his expertise as a research scientist at Facebook AI Research. In 2018, based on data from Carnegie Mellon's Panoptic Studio, he published a paper proposing the total capture system, which enables integrated tracking of 3D motion across the face, hands, and entire body. The work earned him the Best Student Paper Award at CVPR, the world's top conference in computer vision, drawing global attention.
The Panoptic Studio is multi-camera system at CMU with 500 cameras. It's a really heavy-duty multi-camera system. When I joined CMU as a PhD student, the project was already beginning and the hardware was already in the middle of setting up. The problem is because of this, laborious kind of task required to maintain or run this kind of system, lots of graduate students somehow hesitate to contribute on this project. But when I saw this project, I was really fascinated and I really tried to contribute this system. In the end, we managed to publish a really nice paper, and we actually published several impactful research with this system.
The Panoptic Studio project, which Professor Joo participated in during his PhD program, is a system that tracks human motion with high precision using hundreds of cameras. It provided him with extensive experience in data collection and analysis within complex multi-camera environments. That experience has since evolved at Seoul National University, where he is now developing a new multi-camera system capable of precisely tracking not just human movement, but also 3D interactions between people and objects.
Our work is more focused on human-object interaction, where we try to capture human motions in 3D and also object movement in 3D as well. And this requires a new challenges of capturing both human motion up to this dexterous finger level and object movement in a very fine detailed level. Because of the reason, we actually need to track both the heterogeneous signals using this multi-camera system. And I think that is the major difference with our system compared to the previous similar work.
Over the past decade, AI has made remarkable progress. There are three key elements behind its noticeable advancement: massive amounts of data, models capable of learning from that data, and computing technology. At Seoul National University's Visual Computing Lab, these three elements work together. A prime example is the system where AI is trained using human behavior data collected from Parahome. Based on this data, the AI ultimately develops to a level where robots can move like humans, understand situations, and actively collaborate.
The data is about collecting interaction between humans and objects, and humanoids, humans and robot arms in a multi-agent environment. I believe that my research in the end will be used to train humanoids to do stuff just like us. For example, we cook and we move stuff in our home environment, and humanoids will do such stuff based on our data collected in this system.
Building on the diverse forms of accumulated data, AI is now advancing beyond simply recognizing what a person is doing toward predicting why they are doing it. His research team is currently conducting active experiments applying trained AI to real-world environments using various types of robots. This marks a step forward where AI not only learns, but also acts and responds through physical robots.
로봇을 학습시키기 위한 데이터셋을 구축을 하고 있습니다. 다른 연구실과의 차별점이라면 다수의 카메라와 촉각 센서를 활용을 해서 더 많은 정보를 담는 데이터셋을 구축하는 것을 목표로 하고 있습니다.
The research team is also aiming beyond task-specific AI, with an eye toward developing general-purpose artificial intelligence capable of handling a variety of tasks flexibly. In particular, they are paying close attention to the potential of large-scale AI models that allow robots to understand and carry out commands using only natural language and visual information.
지금은 이제 물건을 잡는 그런 동작들이나 아니면은 두 손으로 이렇게 뭐 병을 이렇게 돌려서 딴다거나 이런 식으로 한 가지 일들만 할 수 있는 정책을 학습을 하고 있는데, 지금 나오는 챗 GPT 같은 모델들을 활용을 하면은 자연어나 아니면은 그냥 시각 데이터로 AI를 사용을 할 때 정확한 명령어를 넣지 않고 뭐 가령 방 청소해나 이런 식으로 추상적인 명령어를 내리더라도 AI가 알아서 판단을 해서 알아서 그 태스크를 수행을 할 수 있기 때문에 범용적인 일들에 AI가 사용될 때 필요한 기술이라고 생각합니다.
We are entering an era where artificial intelligence can perceive its surroundings, understand human behavior, and make autonomous decisions. But the real challenge begins now. For AI to truly live alongside humans, it must be able to understand and handle data that is far more complex and sophisticated than ever before.
I think the next generation is really about how to collect new types of data, which is maybe not easy to collect, such as 3D data or human motion data or robot control data. And we really need to invent new ways to collect such kind of new types of data. If we are successful, then maybe we can also leverage this kind of new data set for making another kind of AI model which can basically behave or synthesize this kind of new data result. So as you saw, our lab is tackling many interesting directions of AI, and we are particularly focused on collecting new types of data. So what did you think?
Honestly, I'm just surprised by how detailed the data gathering is for AI researchers. It seems like it takes a lot of time and money. So does the actual AI industry use this method too?
Not exactly, because the existing industries are mostly focusing on using, for example, the existing data sets such as languages or images and videos. As a research lab, our lab is tackling some new unexplored area where there exists no big kind of data in such a field. That's why we are trying to focus on collecting new types of data for this kind of new domain. But these are still in research stage.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think AI seems so much already smart. So why do we still need to collect much more data?
So that's really a valid question, and I really agree with that. So AI is very strong and smart in some specific domain, like writing or image generation. But AI is still struggling in other domains, like reasoning about the physical world. And the main reason here is that the amount of data to learn such a thing is pretty limited. That's why we are focusing on this kind of new data collection so that we can fill the gap. And in the end, given some sufficient amount of data, we believe AI can be smarter and smarter.
But Professor, I'm curious, so why is understanding human behavior such a key point in like studies and development?
The major role of AI is to better assist humans, for example. And language is just one part of human signals. Human also moves so that we can somehow achieve some physical goal for manipulation purpose or for social interaction, for example, right? We use our facial expression and body gestures. So knowing all these things are very important so that it can better understand basically humans' intention and emotion and so on, so they can better assist humans. So I believe that's a major reason that why AI need to learn about humans' behaviors, emotions as well.
If so, do you think we'll reach a point where AI could make a judgment or understand situations like us?
That's a really interesting question and actually a very hard question to answer at the moment. But we have figured out many interesting breakthroughs to make this kind of nice AI technology. So my personal opinion is we are actually getting there based on the current knowledge or the recipe to build smarter AI system. And to this end, I think we will get that point. But still, there are many remaining challenges to solve the problems.
I have a question regarding photo, like an example you gave us a bit before about AI trying to recognize a cat and a dog. It's like a function to give the result. But how can AI actually discern, make a difference between a cat and a dog? Actually, I'm very curious about that.
That's a great question. So I mentioned that AI is in fact a kind of function. So as a function, given some input data X, for example, the goal here is to produce some expected output like Y. So you can just imagine like usual function, linear function, for example, Y equals AX plus B. So given X, the function is producing some Y value. Here what's important is basically the value of A and B, which are called parameters. So if A and B, the parameters of the function is good enough, they can produce some correct answer. If not, it may produce some incorrect answer. So what's training here is basically finding the best parameters so that it can make the best decisions. So for AI's perspective, image is just a giant vector, just a list of number. What it's doing is, in fact, just finding the mapping between this number and the decision. So it actually has no idea about whether this is cat or dog. It just makes the decision because this input is mapped to that specific category, which happened to be the dog or cat in this example.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So far, we have studied the interesting stories of AI, especially the history of AI and current stage of AI. So from now on, let's talk about the future of AI. So let's explore how AI turns your imagination into something real. Only the sky is the limit. AI can provide pretty much everything.
Is there something that scares you at all about the future of AI?
I'm more excited about this new journey and new future. How to be a good AI researcher.
Holding AI ethics.
Works on idea.
I was always dreaming about the future. So I think that's the major motivation. What would be the next of AI and how to change your imagination into the real life.